What is up, everybody? I'm Charlie with Modern Hobbyist, and I just finished making this awesome DIY teleprompter for around $60, which is about half the price of similar ones on Amazon. And today, I'm gonna show you how I made it, so let's get started. If you've watched my videos before, then you know I'm one of those YouTubers that just, I just can't, I really struggle. I can't talk to a camera without making a ton of mistakes, like a lot of mistakes. And that makes it an absolute nightmare to edit my videos. And if you're a content creator like me, then you know that having to sift through a dozen attempts at the same sentence really sucks. Which is why over the years, I've made several different teleprompters. First, I made a super fancy one using a Raspberry Pi and a 7-inch touchscreen. Then I made a mini super fancy one for vlogging, but I don't vlog, so I never ended up using it. And finally, I made this half-complete monstrosity for my new camera, but obviously I never finished it. Plus my wife wants this dinner napkin back, so I might as well make a new one. Now, if you're not familiar, a teleprompter just reflects text from a screen on an angled piece of glass that a camera is pointed through. The camera can't see the text on the glass, and you can look right at the camera while reading from a script. So, like I mentioned before, I wanted to make the initial setup much easier so it appealed to a wider audience, and I also wanted to make it easier to operate so I'm more likely to actually set it up and press record. So the first major change I made was to say goodbye to the Raspberry Pi, because, well, frankly, there's an app for that. Everybody's got an iPad these days, and even if you don't, I'm willing to bet you have a smartphone in your pocket that's pretty decently sized. So I designed this version with a clamping mechanism that uses a T-track bolt to hold the iPad in place. And in case you wanted to use a different device, I tied it to a customizable parameter in Fusion, so all you have to do is enter your device width in millimeters and it adjusts for it. The next major problem I had with my old prompter was the acrylic I used for the mirror. If you're looking to save money, acrylic is a fine option, but since it's not made to be teleprompter glass, it reflects the text on the front and back surfaces, meaning you get sort of a ghost reflection that makes it incredibly hard to read from a distance. So this time I decided to invest in some beam splitter glass to make sure I got a nice crystal clear reflection of the text. Now, other than that, the rest of the upgrades were really just quality of life improvements, like adding 1/2-inch conduit for strength and adjustability, adding some GoPro style mounts so I can tilt the screen, and embedded magnets that I can quickly and easily attach a shroud to keep out all the backlight. Otherwise, that's pretty much it for the design, so let's go get started printing. Now, down here in my very 70s themed basement, I happen to have a printer with a 300mm build surface, so I was able to print the entire frame for the glass in a single piece. But if you don't have a printer this big, I also designed a version that will fit on a 220mm build surface, which is a pretty common size for most printers. Now, if you don't have a 3D printer, then get one, because I promise you will not regret it. But if you don't plan on getting one anytime soon, then you can always order the printed parts from today's video sponsor, PCBWay. PCBWay is a manufacturing company that provides a ton of different 3D printing services like FDM, SLA, SLS, PolyJet. I don't even know what that one is. Anyways, they offer a ton of other services like CNC machining, sheet metal fabrication, injection molding, and my favorite, PCB manufacturing. Now, I didn't use a PCB in this project, but if I had needed one, I would have ordered it from PCBWay. With their fully functioning online platform, it literally couldn't be easier to upload your Gerber file, select your silkscreen and solder mask settings, and get 10 custom PCBs for only $5. Plus, if you use my link in the description, you can get $5 off your first order. So make sure to check out PCBWay so you can take your projects to the next level with a custom PCB. Huge thanks to PCBWay for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to building the teleprompter. Magnet. And here it is, folks, DIY teleprompter Mark, I don't know, 2 or 3 or something like that. I'm sure my wife could have done a much better job with the sewing than I did, but to be honest, I'm actually pretty proud of how it turned out. Figuring out the hood was actually a bit trickier than I expected because the fabric alone didn't really do much to keep out the backlight, so I ended up taking some craft foam and hot gluing it into the shape of the hood. The foam ended up doing a great job of blocking out all the extra light, and it had the added benefit of adding some shape to the hood that I had sewn. In the end, scrapping out the Raspberry Pi in favor of my iPad was a great idea. It simplified the setup a ton, and I gained a ton of really cool functionality too. I'm using an app called Teleprompter Pro, which allows me to open scripts directly from Google Drive, and I can control it wirelessly with my phone or with a ton of different remotes, including even a PS4 controller. The camera mount can be adjusted to accommodate different cameras and lenses, and the screen can be tilted to either match the angle you're viewing from or to collapse it for storage. On top of the glass frame, I added a GoPro style mount for a field monitor so I can see what the camera sees, and with the T-Track bolt, I can easily install or remove the iPad. Overall, I'm super happy with how this turned out. I managed to fix most of the issues I had with my previous teleprompters, and I was able to save a ton of money when compared to equivalent teleprompters on Amazon. The difference in quality compared to my previous versions is literally night and day. I can read this one from all the way across the shop, and it's so much easier to set up and use. If you're interested in building this teleprompter, I'll have plans, 3D files, and a link to the Fusion project so you can adjust it to fit your camera and tablet or phone or whatever screen you want to use. Also, if you like building stuff and you want to join a community of like-minded makers, then make sure to join my Discord server because we would love to have you. Otherwise, check out one of these other videos that YouTube picked out for you, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any future videos. But that's it for this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.